Hi friends, welcome to history. I hope you guys are excited. I think we have a really cool lesson today, but we're going to start with our review of last week because if you're in my class, you know that I love to do reviews because I like to make sure that you guys are remembering all that we're learning. We learned some really cool stuff and I want it to be locked in there in your brain. So if you don't have a pencil and paper, pause the video and go and grab that real quick, and we're going to get started with our review. So as always, give me a second to bring it up. All right, our review of last week. Here we go. Question number 1. Who did we learn about last week? Like I always say to my class, put on your thinking caps, turn them all the way up. Who did we learn about last week? If you think it was Galileo Galilei, write the letter A. If you think it was Johannes Kepler, write the letter B. And if you think it was Ptolemy, write the letter C. A is Galileo Galilei, B is Johannes Kepler, and C is Ptolemy. All right, the answer is A. We learned about Galileo Galilei. Remember, he has a really, really fun name to say. Okay, number 2. What made Galileo different from other astronomers before him? What made him different? Okay. So do you think he was much older than the previous astronomers before him? That's option A. Option B is that he wanted to be an astronomer. And option C is that he used science to prove his theories. So what made Galileo different from the other astronomers before him? A, he was much older than the other ones. B, he loved space so much he wanted to be an astronaut. Or C, he used science to prove his theories. Are you ready for the answer? It's C. He used science to prove his theories. Before Galileo, people could only guess. Remember, Copernicus, he could only look up to the sky and guess. But Galileo actually used science as proof. All right, number 3. Galileo heard of a new invention and he decided to build one for himself. What was this amazing new invention called? Was it a microscope? That's option A. Was it a telescope? That's option B. Or a magnifying glass? That's option C. So what was the amazing new invention that Galileo decided to build one for himself? Are you ready for the answer? Come on, answer. There we go. B, a telescope. Galileo heard of the telescope. It was this great new invention, and he decided to build one for himself. Good job. Let's move on. Number 4. Galileo used his telescope to look at the Milky Way galaxy. What did he discover about the Milky Way galaxy? So he had his telescope, he looked up into the night sky at that Milky Way galaxy, and he learned something about it. What did he learn? If you think he learned that it's made up of millions of stars that are all different distances from the Earth, that's option A. If he learned that the Milky Way galaxy is much smaller than people previously thought, that's option B. And if you think he learned that it was a giant black hole, that's option C. So again, option A is that he learned that the Milky Way galaxy was made up of millions of stars, all different distances from the Earth. That's A. B is that it's much smaller than we thought. And C, it's a giant black hole. Okay, you ready for the answer? It's answer A, that the Milky Way galaxy is actually made up of millions and millions of stars, and they're all different distances from the Earth. Some are closer, some are further away. All right, number 5. Galileo used his telescope to look at the moon. What did he discover about the moon? Did he discover A, that it has a smooth surface? Or did he discover, or B, option B, that it has mountains and valleys and craters? Or option C, he discovered moon plants. So when Galileo looked through his telescope up at the moon, did he learn that it has a smooth surface? That's option A. That it has mountains, valleys, and craters? That's option B. Or did he discover moon plants? That's option C. Are you ready for the answer? B. He discovered that the moon's surface has craters and mountains and valleys, but it's not smooth. People had previously thought that it was smooth, but it's not. And he learned that by looking at it through his telescope. All right, using his telescope, see, Galileo really liked his telescope. Using his telescope, what did Galileo discover about the planet Jupiter? Did he discover 4 moons orbiting around it? That's option A. Did he discover that Jupiter has lots of storms? That's option B. Or did he discover that Jupiter also has mountains and craters and valleys like the moon? That's option C. So option A is that Jupiter has moons, 4 moons orbiting around it. Option B is that there's lots of storms on Jupiter. And option C is that Jupiter also has mountains and craters and valleys. Okay, here comes the answer. He discovered 4 moons orbiting around Jupiter. Do you guys want a fun fact though? All right, so even though Galileo, found 4 moons orbiting Jupiter, there's actually 79 known moons that orbit Jupiter. This is more than any other planet in our solar system. Number 7. Why was Galileo's discovery of those 4 moons such an important discovery? That discovery was super important. Why? Do you think it was because it meant that there were more things to explore in space? That's option A. Or it meant that his telescope worked? That's option B. Or that because those moons orbited Jupiter, it proved that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Because if those moons are going around Jupiter, they're not going around the Earth. Therefore, the Earth is not the center. That's option C. Okay, here's the answer. It proved that the Earth was not the center of the universe. There was actual proof of something going around another planet, not going around Earth. Earth was not the center of our, sorry, I keep saying universe, it actually means solar system. I apologize, of our solar system. Way to go, you guys did awesome. That's the end of our review. Are you ready to see some pictures of our friends? We have some great pictures this week. All right, here's our pictures of fashions. Remember we're sending in pictures of our Elizabethan fashion. Here's some fashions that some of our students like. Oh, I love this one. We have Clark Graham and his brother, tongue-tied. Clark Graham and his sister. And look at them. I love their costumes. I think costumes are one of my favorite fashions. They're always fun to dress up, isn't it? I love these pictures, you guys. Thank you for sending them in. Oh, William. Okay, William's got a lot going on here. It looks like, do I see Harry Potter underneath there with the tie and the shirt? And a king's robe and a king's crown. Okay, I love this fashion. It's got tons going on. Why choose just one thing, right? If you can choose any kind of fashion, let's mix it up. Good job, William. All right, I also got some great galaxies sent to me this week. Let's take a look at them. Oh, Abby, that is a great galaxy. I love it. Your cutting on your planets looks amazing. Good job, Abby. Oh, Nicole, I love your galaxy. I love the colors that you chose to color your plate. That looks great. Keith, that's amazing. I love how you labeled all of your planets. Good job. Oh, look at this one. This one's great. Look at the size of that sun. That is an excellent solar system. Savannah and Story, look at those great solar systems. I love them. You guys do amazing work. Yeshua, look at how cool that is. Your solar system is super long. I love that. That took some good cutting skills. Way to go. We also got a globe theater from William. That globe theater looks great. Look at all of his people in the stands, and he's got a play going on the stage. Great job, William. All right, guys, let's move on to today's lesson. We're going to learn about an amazing person. When you think of Renaissance, this is usually the first name that comes to mind. Not going to tell you who he is yet. I'm going to give you some clues. And I want to see if you guys can, if you can decide who it is that we're going to learn about. All right, I have a bag here. I have clues in this bag to the person that we're going to learn about. Let me show you the first clue. All right, my first clue is a notebook. Notebook and a pencil. Any ideas what a notebook and a pencil who that could be representing? All right, let's look at our next clue. Paints. Our next clue is paints. Wonder who we could be learning about with a notebook and paints. Let's see if we have any more clues. All right, our next clue is, okay, our next clue is a dragon. Any ideas? Who do you think we're learning about? If you think you know, shout it out. But I have a few more clues for you. All right, our next clue, a boot. Any ideas what a boot could mean? There's something in our boot. Let's check it out. Let's see what's in our boot. So we've got a piece of paper in our boot here. Let's find out what our piece of paper is. Oh, it's a map of, do you remember what country this is? If you're in my class, you should remember we talked about this country a lot. It's a map of Italy. Right there, see, Italy looks like a boot. Can you tell? There's our boot. There's Italy. Does it look like a boot? It does. Good job. All right, I have another clue. I'm actually wearing this clue. All right, there it is. There's our next clue. I have a hole in my sweater. I just found the hole. Oh, that's terrible. All right, there we go. Any ideas? I have one more amazing, great clue. You should all get it with this clue. Are you ready for the last clue? Here we go. All right, anybody know the name of this painting? I hope you all said the Mona Lisa. That's right. So our clues, Mona Lisa, a dragon, a boot because of Italy that looks like a boot, a notebook and a pencil, and paints. All right, guys, any ideas of who we're learning about? I'm going to show you a picture. Let me bring it up. Okay, here comes my picture. Right there, we're going to learn about Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, does that name sound familiar? Da Vinci, where do you recognize it from? Da Vinci Academy, right? We all go to Da Vinci Academy. Did you know that our school is named after Leonardo da Vinci? This man right here. He's so amazing and so great. Our school is named after him. That was the clue of the dragon, because we're the Da Vinci dragons. We are going to watch a really cool video about this amazing man. Let me get our video. Oh, before I get our video, right here, if you guys were paying attention, I had his picture back there the whole time. That's Leonardo da Vinci right there. I forgot to point that out. All right, let's watch our amazing video on Leonardo da Vinci.
I don't think this was designed to be flown by a 500-pound robot. Wait a second, can't you fly anyway? Dear Tim and Moby, why do so many people talk about Leonardo da Vinci? Thanks, and lied. Well, it's because Leonardo da Vinci is worth talking about. He was a sculptor.
Oh no, that's not good. Let's try this again. All right, take two. Here we go.
I don't think this was designed to be flown by a 500-pound robot. Wait a second, can't you fly anyway? Dear Tim and Moby, why do so many people talk about Leonardo da Vinci? Thanks, and lied. Well, it's because Leonardo da Vinci is worth talking about. He was a sculptor, architect, inventor, engineer, painter, scientist, mathematician. Actually, believe it or not, he did do some party planning. Leonardo is probably the best known example of a Renaissance man, someone who excels in many different areas. The Renaissance was a period of great cultural and scientific activity in Western Europe, especially Italy. The Italian Renaissance peaked during the 15th century, which is when Leonardo was born, near Florence, Italy, in 1452. As a teenager, Leonardo was apprenticed to a famous sculptor and painter named Verrocchio. In Verrocchio's Baptism of Christ, the kneeling angel at the left of the painting was painted by a 22-year-old Leonardo. The angel shows Leonardo's incredible promise as a painter. Well, he didn't produce a lot of paintings, but his influence is still huge. Even if you don't know all that much about art, you're probably familiar with Leonardo's The Last Supper, depicting Jesus' final meal. And everyone knows the Mona Lisa, now hanging in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. The Mona Lisa shows Leonardo's mastery of two techniques. Sfumato, in which colors are blended seamlessly and skillfully, creates a smoky, ethereal effect. And chiaroscuro, which uses contrasts of light and dark to create a luminous, three-dimensional effect. But what people remember most about the painting is her expression, sort of a weird cross between a smile and a frown. Leonardo's career as an artist led him to his interest in human anatomy. His drawings of muscles, organs, bones, and even fetuses are not only really beautiful, but they also advanced our understanding of human physiology. A lot of what we know about Leonardo comes from his notes and drawings, thousands of pages of which still exist. Museums will often display a notebook or codex made up of these collected pages. They show Leonardo's fascination not only with anatomy, but with stars and planets, animals, architecture, geography, and fossils. They also demonstrate that as an inventor, Leonardo drew on his observations of the natural world to design mechanical wonders. Some of his drawings planned inventions for things that couldn't possibly have been built at the time. No, he kept them to himself, so most of them weren't actually made public until after his death in 1519. Even then, it was a long time before anyone could decipher his notes. Leonardo wrote in mirror script, which was written backwards. Well, he wasn't crazy, he just wanted to protect his work. He also started way more paintings, inventions, and other projects that he ever finished. If Leonardo had published his notes when he wrote them, they would have revolutionized European science. He understood better than anyone for more than a century afterward how important observation was. That ability to observe led him to actually anticipate scientific discoveries like the circulation of blood, the movement of the eye, and the effect of the moon on the tides, as well as countless inventions from the car to the tank to solar heat collectors. In fact, you may be interested to learn that the first design for a robot was drawn by Leonardo da Vinci. What? How did you know that? Oh, no way.
Isn't Leonardo da Vinci an amazing man? So he filled, I'll show you my notebooks and notebooks of ideas, of inventions that wouldn't be developed for hundreds of years. He was so far advanced for his time. He thought of things that didn't exist and wrote those down in his book. And he was just brilliant. We're going to look at some of his best inventions now. Do you guys want to see some of his coolest inventions? All right, I'm going to share this with you. Okay, here comes Leonardo's 7 top inventions. I want you guys to really pay attention, and I want you to choose your favorite. After we watch all 7, I want you to choose which one you think is your most favorite invention that Leonardo created. Here it comes.
Now, These are my top 7 picks from Leonardo da Vinci's inventions. Number 7. The self-propelled cart. The self-propelled cart was one of the many inventions that Leonardo created dealing with locomotion and transportation. Leonardo's cart was powered by coiled springs, and it also featured steering and brake capabilities. When the brake was released, the car would propel forward. Da Vinci's cart design was so ahead of its time that its exact workings baffled scholars until late in the 20th century. But in 2006, Italy's Institute and Museum of the History of Science in Florence built a working model based on Da Vinci's design, and, to the surprise of many, the cart actually worked. Number 6. The machine gun. The way Leonardo da Vinci saw it, the problem with the cannons of the time was that they took far too long to load. His solution to that problem was to build multi-barreled guns that could be loaded and fired simultaneously. While one set of cannons was being fired, another set would be cooling and the third set could be loaded. This system allowed soldiers to repeatedly fire without interruption. Leonardo da Vinci's design for the 33-barreled organ is generally regarded as the basis for the modern-day machine gun, a weapon that didn't really develop for commercial use until the 19th century. Number 5. The parachute. Da Vinci made a sketch of the invention with this accompanying description. If a man had a tent made of linen, of which the apertures or openings have all been stopped up, and it be 12 braccia, which is about 23 feet across, and 12 in depth, he will be able to throw himself down from any great height without suffering any injury. Daredevil Adrian Nichols constructed a prototype based on Da Vinci's design and tested it. Despite skepticism from experts, Da Vinci's design worked as intended, and Nichols even noted that it had a smoother ride than the modern parachute. Number 4. The Robot Knight. Designed for a pageant in Milan, which the Duke had put Leonardo in charge of overseeing, the Robot Knight consisted of a knight suit filled with gears and wheels that were connected to an elaborate pulley and cable system. Through these mechanisms, Da Vinci's Robot Knight was capable of independent motion, sitting down, standing up, moving its head, and lifting its visor. Using several different Da Vinci drawings as blueprints, roboticist Mark Roshim built a prototype of the robotic knight in 2002, which was able to walk and wave. Number 3. The diving suit. Originally designed as a way of warding off invading ships, Da Vinci's diving suit would allow men to engage in a little underwater sabotage by cutting holes in the bottom of the enemy's hull. The leather diving suit was equipped with a bag-like mask that went over the diver's head. Attached to the mask, around the nose area, were 2 cane tubes that led up to a cork diving bell floating on the surface. Unfortunately, the design, complete with breathing hose and glass goggles, wasn't needed at the time and would only find itself submerged in planning stages. Number 2. The armored tank. The precursor to the modern tank, Leonardo da Vinci's armored car invention was capable of moving in any direction and was equipped with a large number of weapons. The platform was covered by a large protective cover reinforced with metal plates, which was to be slanted to better deflect enemy fire. The motion of the machine was to be powered by 8 men inside of the tank who would constantly turn cranks to spin the wheels. Despite its elaborate design, Da Vinci's tank has a major flaw. The powering cranks went in opposite directions. This made forward motion impossible. Scholars suggest that Da Vinci, a pacifist at heart, may have inserted the flaw intentionally to discourage the war machine from ever being built. And number 1, the flying machine. One of Da Vinci's most famous inventions, the flying machine, also known as the ornithopter, ideally displays his powers of observation and imagination. It had a wingspan that exceeded 33 feet, and the frame was to be made of pine covered in raw silk to create a light but sturdy membrane. To power the wings, the pilot would pedal a crank connected to a rod and pulley system. The machine also had a hand crank for increased energy output and a headpiece for steering. Unfortunately, while the flying machine may have flown once it was in the air, a person could never have created enough power to get the device off the ground. You are no longer ignorant concerning these matters. Now you know. Thank you for watching. If you liked this,
Didn't he have some absolutely amazing inventions? Those were things that wouldn't be invented for hundreds of years, yet he was able to sketch those designs in his notebook. His mind was absolutely brilliant. So what was your favorite invention? I think mine was the robot knight. I don't know why, I just think that's cool, a robot knight. How fun is that? I think that was my favorite one that was mentioned in there. All right, another thing that we talked about was the way Da Vinci wrote. So he wrote mirror image. If you remember, back when we talked about the printing presses used mirror images so that the copy would be right. But Da Vinci wrote in the mirror image. Do you guys remember? You all should have tried writing in mirror image back then. Did you try? Do you remember how tough it was? All right, I want you to try something with me. I want you to, if you have a pen or pencil near you, I'm going to pull mine off of my notebook here. Ah, I'm ripping my notebook. That's okay. All right, I want you to get your pen or pencil, and I want you, if you are right-handed, okay, if you're right-handed, I want you to hold your pen or pencil in your right hand. If you're left-handed, I still want you to hold it in your right hand for a minute, okay? And put your pencil down and pretend you're gonna write. Which direction would you write? So for me, I would write like this. So my words, my hand would never touch my words. See how my words would be over here. My hand is always on the other side of the words, right? But if you're left-handed, put your pencil in your other hand. If you're really a left-handed person, you probably already know this. If you're left-handed and you write, your hand goes across your words, right? Here's where I'm writing. My hand goes across my words. Now, if you remember when we used a quill and we made ink, remember it wouldn't dry very fast. It wasn't like the pen or pencil that we have nowadays. So what would happen is I drug my hand across those wet letters. It would smear them, right? So many people think the reason that Da Vinci wrote backwards is because he was left-handed. And so if he started over here and he wrote with his left hand, he wouldn't smear his letters. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like to have backwards writing. Do you want to see? It's really cool. Okay, I'm going to bring up this cool little tool here. All right, check it out. This is so amazing. I'm going to write a message over here in this white box. You're going to see what it looks like the way Da Vinci would write it over here in this gray box. Are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to write, hi, all my students. I hope you're having a great day. Check it out. On the left side, or at least on my left, I'm not sure how it pops up on your screen. On my left, in the white box, we have it written the way that I would write it. In the gray box, we have the way Da Vinci would write it. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Let's try some names. I'm going to try some of the kids. I'm going to try some of the names of kids in my class. So if you're in my class, take a look over on there in the gray box, and you can see what it looks like in Da Vinci writing. So we're going to go with Emerson. Let's take away all of this stuff here. That's cool. How about Evan or Marley? How about Harmony? In there. Check it out, guys. Isn't that amazing? Do you think it would be hard to write like that? I think it would be super hard. I'm going to do Miss Jen. That's how Da Vinci wrote. If he was writing something that somebody else was going to read. No, if he was writing something somebody else was going to read, he would write it the correct way. But if he was writing it just for him, just as in his notebooks, he would write it backwards. So this is a really cool link. If you guys want to, I will include this in your lesson. If you want to go to this website and you want to try to type some stuff in, it can show you how to write backwards. But I have a challenge for you. I have two challenges for you this week. First challenge, the one I would like to get pictures of, is I want to see you guys write a message the way Da Vinci would. I want you to write it backwards, starting left to right. It's really tough. And it can be a short message. It can be your name. It can be have a nice day. It could be Da Vinci Dragons, any message you want. I want you to try to write that on a piece of paper, starting at the left and moving to the right. And then I want you to stand in front of a mirror and look in the mirror and see if you can read it. have your mom or dad snap a picture of you in the mirror so I can see it. Okay? And that's what we'll put in our slideshow next week. Also, have another great, big, huge challenge for you. So every year, Da Vinci Academy, at the end of the year, does a great, big project. Last year, if you were a member of Da Vinci, if you were a student in Da Vinci, we did our housing projects. Remember, some people built teepees and some people did, I think somebody did the Great Wall of China. But we built a structure that we had learned about in the year. Well, this year, we're going to do inventions, just like Leonardo da Vinci. Now, sadly, if we were here at school, we would actually all get together. We would get together in the gym. We would set up our displays. We would have our parents come, and we would make this great, big, fun day of it. But we can't do that this year. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have fun. We're still going to make this great. Here's your challenge. You guys are going to be the inventors. You need to think of something to invent. Does it really have to work? No. Because inventions take a lot, right? First you put them in your notebook and then you start to build them. But I want you to do your very best. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to think of what's a need that people have. What's a need? For instance, I saw an invention that a little girl made, and she would walk in the snow. She would walk from her front door to her sidewalk. And sometimes her walks didn't get shoveled in the snow. So she developed shoes that had shovels on the front of them. So as she walked, it would shovel the snow in front of her. She first thought of a need, and then she found a solution. So that's what you guys are going to do. You're going to have 2 weeks to invent a project. You're going to decide what you're going to invent, sketch it out, and when you're ready, start inventing. In 2 weeks, I think we're going to have parents videotape you and send that in. I think that's how we're doing it. I don't know quite certain, but I will let you know as soon as we figure it out. We might do live class Zoom meetups to show our inventions. Either way, you're going to invent something really cool, and we're going to share it in 2 weeks. Everybody will get a turn to share their invention, okay? You guys, it's been a great day. I hope you enjoyed learning about Leonardo da Vinci. He is a really awesome man. I cannot wait to see your inventions. I know they're going to be amazing and awesome, and I'm so excited. I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.